Hello,
Yep.
I'm John Etheridge, editor of the Kendall County Record newspapers and KendallCountyNow.com. Today, Wednesday, September 16th, on behalf of Shaw Media Local News Network, we are pleased to hold a joint interview with candidates for the Kendall County Board District 2 in the November 3rd general election. Joining me in interviewing the candidates is Katie Finland, our Kendall County government reporter. We welcome the Kendall County Board District 2 candidates and thank them for their participation. The candidates are Matt Kellogg, Dan Kokel, Joe West, Elizabeth Flowers, Mary C. Murray, and Karen E. Novi. In the District 2 board race, voters will be asked to cast ballots for 3 of the candidates. Our format today will be as follows. I will ask each candidate to introduce themselves, and then they will have up to 2 minutes to give their introductions, tell us a little bit about themselves. After that, we will follow a question and answer format where we will ask each candidate the same series of questions, and they will take turns answering. Candidates will have up to 2 minutes to respond to each question. So I would like to begin the introductions now with, let's call on Mary Murray. If you could unmute yourself.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Thank you. All right. Well, my full name is Mary Condon Murray. I grew up on the family farm in Niasse Township. I graduated from Oswego High School, headed off to college. I finished up at Northern Illinois University with a bachelor's degree in history and secondary ed. I moved back to Oswego with my husband and got a job teaching at Thompson Junior High. I taught social studies there for 20 years. I also then earned a Master's of Arts in Teaching from Aurora University and kept teaching. I raised my son here. We were, as a family, involved with scouting, football, band. We attended a lot of community events. We're very active, met a whole lot of people. And through my teaching, I learned about the diversity of our population here in Kendall County, that we're not all farmers, but we are, some of us. So I enjoyed that. And I'm running for county board because I think I can give a historical perspective to the board and also encourage an understanding and a move towards the future. And an understanding that our population is very diverse, and we need to keep that in mind when we're working on things for the county board. I hope to help with economic development and maybe expanding some of our mental health services. I think that's it.
Okay, very good, Mary, thank you. Joe West, if you would introduce yourself to our audience here.
Thank you for hosting this today. And well, my name is Joe West. I'm running for Kendall County Board District 2. I've lived in Oswego probably 33 plus years, raised 2 daughters here with my wife, Lori. My daughter, Tracy, graduated from Oswego High School. And my youngest daughter ended up going to St. Francis High School in Wheaton. I am a member of the American Legion. I am the commander there. So I meet quite a few people during my time there. A lot of people at the Oswego Bingo and the fish fries. And I also am a member of the Oswego Marine Corps League, Fox Valley Marine Corps League, and a member of the Fox Valley Veterans Breakfast Club, and a member of the Oswego Senior Citizen community. So I think I can bring a good diverse to the board if I'm elected, because I'm involved in a lot of senior activities and I could represent them well. and also a lot of the veterans groups that I belong to. It's important to try to keep veterans active when they get home from the service. And as we get older, it's more important to be involved in different community activities and keep them going. I've been on the Oswego Village Board as a trustee for 4 years. I was involved in a lot of economic development. Excuse me.
There you go.
I'm back. I helped bring the new police station to Oswego, which is a gem, I believe. And I work well with the police department and the fire department on many organizations and volunteering groups, such as Serenity Park for the veterans. We built a new park along the river down from Hudson Park. I also was involved in bringing the Vietnam moving wall to Oswego, which is was a big success. A lot of people got to come out there and share some feelings and help some healing of the veterans and veterans' families. So I would like to be on the board, and I think I could bring a good diverse to the board.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Thank you, Joe. Karen Novi.
Hi, my name is Karen Novi, and I'm married to my husband, Steve, for 23 years. We moved out to Oswego 17 years ago, where I raised both my daughters. My oldest is attending the University of Illinois right now, and my youngest is a senior at Oswego East. Since we moved out here, I've been active in the community. I was a founding member of the Kiwanis of Oswego, where we've done a lot of charity work. We actually also had a pancake breakfast to raise money for the moving wall to come out here. I'm also on the Community Cares group. That's a new group that's been started during COVID, and we helped deliver 300 meals to District 308 students over the summer. I'm also a member of the League of Women Voters in the Aurora area, which encompasses parts of Kendall County. I also, my professional career, I'm also a commissioner on the Planning and Zoning Board for the Village of Oswego. So I like to keep myself busy. My professional career, I was an underwriter for MetLife, and then I left to stay home to raise my girls. And then when I had a chance, I went back to work, and I had the opportunity to work for a state representative, and I was her chief of staff. And that was really where I saw the importance of good local representation as needed. And I got my bug to decide to put my foot into the pool and run for office. And I thought county board would be a great place to start. And there's some things I like to see done with economic development. And I just am excited to run, and I look forward to this and appreciate you guys hosting this for us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Karen. One other candidate, Matt Kellogg, incumbent board member, was not able to be here. He sent his regrets, and he did forward a statement, which I said I would read on his behalf. So Matt writes, to thank you to the public that has taken the time to watch and to listen to this forum. And thank you to Shaw Media for hosting the event today. I wish that I could join in the live forum, but today is the first day of budget hearings for the 2021 Kendall County budget. With reduced revenue and increased cost due to COVID-19, the 2021 budget will be difficult to balance, and it is essential that all current board members are involved in the process. As chair of finance for the county, I am unable to step out of the hearing to share and answer questions today. I grew up on our family farm in Neosay Township and live on the land that my ancestors homesteaded in 1846. I have spent my life serving the community and will continue to do so. My wife, Lindsay, and our 5 kids are active with community events through church, school, and 4-H, as well as supporting community events like Moving Wall and Prairie Fest each year. I am very grateful for the employees of Kendall County. In the 4 years on the board, I believe that we have put the right people in place to better serve the public. We have some of the best and brightest individuals in key positions, and that is essential to addressing the needs of the community. Again, I wish I were able to be in person for this discussion. The public has 6 very good people running for 3 positions representing Kendall County Board District 2. I am encouraged to see more people looking to become involved in government. Kendall County is a great place to live and raise a family, and I hope to continue to serve. Please consider voting for Matt Kellogg, Kendall County Board District 2. And that is Matt's statement. And I'm pleased to report here that Dan's iPhone, it says here, is here, and we're going to welcome Dan Kokol to our group. Right, Dan, can you hear us? It says he's connecting to audio. It would be perfect timing.
Agreed.
Yes. Could just drop them right in here before we get to the questions. Connecting to audio. Okay. Hey, Joe, your audio is off or muted. There you go. Are you hearing?
Currently waiting for Dan.
Okay. Okay.
Oh no.
Connecting. Now he's.
I said it did not. His iPhone did not connect to audio.
Yeah, unfortunately. Well, yeah, I don't know.
There's video.
Is there?
Mm-hmm. Hey, Dan, can you hear us?
Hey, Dan. He's come. Oh, this is.
Trying again.
He's almost.
Hey.
Hey, Dan.
Hello, how are you?
Hey, we're glad you could join us.
Yes.
And
thank you for the invite.
yeah, we are just at the point in this forum where I've asked each of the candidates to take about 2 minutes to introduce themselves. And if you could do that right now, then we'll move on to our question and answer portion of this meeting.
This starts at 1:30, correct?
1 o'clock.
Oh, I thought it was 1:30. I apologize.
That's all right. But yeah, if you could just take a couple minutes and introduce yourself.
Well, hello, my name is Dan Kokol. I'm running for Kendall County Board in District 2. I have lived in the county my entire life. My goal is to bring economic development, big factories, and large buildings to Kendall County so we can offset some of our tax base. Our tax base right now is all based on rooftops, and taxes have been hard through this last several years, let alone with our national economy and this epidemic going on. And we just need to move forward and get people working here and spending their dollars here in Kendall County. So vote Dan Cole. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Dan. Now we'll move along to question and answer portion. And again, I would ask that everybody try to keep their answers to 2 minutes. And I'll turn the first question over to Katie Finlan, our Kendall County government reporter.
Hi, everyone. So the first question that I have for everyone here is, what is the most significant challenge now facing the board and county government, and how should the board deal with it? If, Karen, if you don't mind starting, and then we'll go from there.
Thanks, Katie. Well, I feel one of the most significant challenges in our county is economic development. as Dan mentioned, our property tax base is basically based on homeowners. And if we could get more economic development, that would hopefully diversify our property tax base and take some of the burden off the property owners. I would do that. I think the board would benefit by having a business economic development commission that maybe have private and public sector people in it. So everyone's invested in bringing this economic development to our county. I think that if we can get maybe some of our road situations also, better roads and better access to highways, that would also help our county. So I definitely think to get the burden off the property homeowners is definitely to bring in more economic development. And I know even at one point, I believe the county had a specialized person just to work on that. That's no longer with the county. So that's something else they could also look at maybe bringing back. But definitely, I think that's the biggest challenge right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. And Mary, same question. What is the most significant challenge now facing the board and county government, and how should the board deal with it?
Okay, I have to agree with Karen. I think economic development and trying to hold property taxes steady if we can, and that would be through bringing in more business. I also think we are highly challenged now because of the lack of revenue from the COVID-19 pandemic. There's a lot of economic activity that's just not happening right now because so many businesses are not able to run at full scale, or many are closing or staying partially closed. So I think we need to get the COVID situation under control. And I do believe bringing in a specialist for economic development would be maybe a good idea to help with that if we can find it in our budget. Sometimes bringing in the best person for the job who's dedicated to that would be, is actually cost effective. Okay.
Thank you, Mary. And Joe, same question to you. What is the most significant challenge now facing the board and county government, and how should the board deal with it?
One of the issues is the COVID-19, finding the money to replace and adjusting the budgets going forward that we lost during the pandemic. That's going to take some getting in, meeting with the department heads and talking to them what we can cut and what we need to add, because it's not always best just to cut their budgets. Some departments may need extra money to get through this, and also getting economic development a little bit better in the county. I think instead of hiring someone right off the bat, I think we could partner with the economic development staff from Oswego, Yorkville, and Plano, and sit down with the three of them once I'm on the board, and meet with them, see what their ideas are, and that way it wouldn't cost the county anything. We got 2 or 3 people I know that are very qualified in those positions right now, and if we get a little input from them and we all work together as a team, we could save some money and maybe get a little more development and just in Kendall County besides the cities and the villages. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. And Dan, same question to you. What is the most significant challenge now facing the board and county government, and how should the board deal with it?
One of the main things is the budget, keeping the levies. Matter of fact, the county is going through their finance right now, their finance time of the year, where they're preparing for the main budget, and they're meeting with all the directors and elected officials on their different budgets. But give a little history lesson here. Kendall County didn't do anything for economic development, and I was on the board, and I started with the Economic Development Committee. It was a committee they gave the new people all the time, and nobody really did anything with it. I took that committee, and we made the Kendall Alliance, and we all met with everybody from Plano to Joliet, to Oswego, to Yorkville, Montgomery, and we met once a month, and we shared ideas. We worked together. If somebody had a developer or somebody come with them with a project and it was more a fit for Yorkville instead of Montgomery, we all helped each other. I'm not on the board right now, but it seems since I've been gone the last several years that has not been as important to the Economic Development Committee, and we need to get that back. As one of the other candidates said, I don't believe we need to hire anybody right away. I think we need to open the doors again with the other communities and open the trails of communication. So that is one way that we can help with our budget at the county and all the budgets of the county, because the county board is kind of the top board of all the different towns and everything. And these other towns, they look towards us for help and sometimes money. So to get more businesses here, we have to have a strong economic development program. The towns are doing a great job, but I would like to pull those back in together. I was on that committee and in charge of it for 6 years. And we brought in, at Ridge and 80, we brought in the Macy's and the Electrolux company. They're large companies. They pay a lot of taxes, large buildings. And as I've always said in the past, I would like to see some large warehousing or something on our main roads. And our next problem is we need to work on the roads. I had the opportunity to be the highway chairman for 5 years. And when I was the highway chairman, we built Ridge Road South, and I was able to save $1 million on that road. And the way I did it is I asked more construction companies to bid that. All the construction companies tightened their pencils and sharpened them, tightened their belts, sharpened their pencils, and we were able to come in $1 million under budget. When we did Eldamain Road North, it was the same thing. It was $1 million savings there just because of the bidding and being strong. And those roads were both built. They're both being utilized today, and they both have the opportunity for development. And a matter of fact, Eldamain Road has projects in the hopper right now where people are looking at it. And Ridge Road will be that way someday as soon as we get a strong economic development committee going again at the county for those developers to have opportunity and to even know we exist out here in Kendall County. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Dan. And I will turn it over to Editor John Etheridge for the second question.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Katie. Next question, and we'll start with Joe West. Is there fat in the county budget? And if so, what will you do to eliminate it while maintaining or even expanding current service levels?
Well, I've been involved in a lot of budgets. I know there's fat, but what you have to do, you have to sit down with each department head and realistically talk to that individual one-on-one and say, what can you put off this year that's not going to hurt you, and we can move on to the next year's budget when we have a little bit more money. I just don't want to go and say, I've been in places where they just say, okay, everybody cut 10%. And that's ridiculous. You have to sit down and talk about it and work with each department head and work through their budgets. It's very time consuming, but in the end, you'll be able to get rid of the fat in the budget and also provide good services with the remaining money in the budget. So that would be my first thing I would do when I'm elected, is sit down with the county department heads and see what can be done with the budgets. I know the budget's already going to be approved, but even though you approve the budget, that does not mean you have to spend everything in that budget. You can eliminate things as they come up line item by line item. And thank you.
Okay, thank you. Dan Kokol, is there fat in the county budget? And if so, what will you do to eliminate it while maintaining or even expanding current service levels? Oh, I think you're muted there.
Thank you, John. I don't think there's a ton of extra money in the budget this year just because of the COVID pandemic. Mm-hmm. But I had the opportunity to be on I was the chairman of facilities and maintenance. And again, there's just a lot of things you can do. And with that committee, you know, we had air conditioning projects in the jail. We had air conditioning projects at the main office building. And what we were able to do is we were able to look at those machines, those units, and try to get a handle on what kind of life they have. Some of them were over their life cycle, and some of them were just about there. So what we did is we bid out these things before they broke completely, and we were able to do stringent bidding, and we were able to save a lot of money on the air conditioning units that were at 111 Fox Street, the main office building. And that's just one example. Sometimes emergencies pop up. I remember we had one over at the courthouse, and we had to do some excavating. I believe it was over a weekend. There was a leak. There was a hole in the basement wall. And, I remember it was very expensive, and those types of things pop up. So you got to have some reserve in your budgets. But the main thing is to do communication with the directors and the elected officials, and only use the wants. All the needs have to be put on hold. I'm sure these budgets down at the county, I've talked to the current county board members, they are tight. If you can get an extra couple years out of that automobile, please try to get an extra couple years. That's the type of situation that we have going on. And all the directors and all the elected officials down at the county, they know this, and they've all been very good on the ones that have presented their budgets so far on not asking for a whole ton of items. So, but thank you, and please vote for Dan Kokel. I will save you money. And I have never voted for a tax increase, as John knows, because he's followed the newspaper for many years in Kendall County here. Thank you.
Thanks, Dan. We'll go over here to Mary Murray. Is there fat in the county budget? If so, what will you do to eliminate it while maintaining or even expanding current service levels?
Well, I was listening to the budget hearings this morning and looking at those budgets. I'm not seeing a whole lot of fat, and I'm seeing that most departments are able to keep their budgets, just very little increase this year. And again, because of the pandemic, some have had to go more. I mean, the health department, is going to need more than some other areas. But I think most of the department heads seem to be pretty reasonable. And I think if, we needed to cut, I think they would be the ones that should make those decisions. Although I think they seem pretty reasonable, and they were all very careful. Each of them had mentioned that, we're trying to stay, you asked us to stay within this, and we're working really hard to do that, and here's how. And they were able to explain some of the ways they've managed. So I don't see a whole lot of fat in the budget at this time. Maybe in other years there has been, but this year it looks pretty good. So.
Okay. Thank you, Mary. Karen Novi, is there fat in the county budget? And if so, what will you do to eliminate it while maintaining or even expanding current?
Okay, thank you. Well, as Mary mentioned, I too was listening to the budget meetings this morning, which were very interesting. But historically, the Kendall County Board has done a really good job managing their budget. They only levy around 7% of the property taxes to run the whole county, which is, I think, pretty remarkable. COVID, unfortunately, I think has caused some deficit for our budget that they're going to be looking at for next year. But due to COVID, I wish there was a couple of projects maybe that the board put off till next year, like the Millbrook Bridge. Maybe that could have been postponed while they're going, while we're going through COVID, to save that money, and possibly even the boardroom renovation. I know it's needed. We've all been in that boardroom before, and it's definitely needed, but maybe put it off again, just to see how we're doing going into 2021 and where we are with the whole COVID situation. But otherwise, I think the county does a great job with the budget. So
okay.
That's all. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And I'll turn the questioning back over here to my colleague, Katie Finland.
Hello, everyone, again. So the next question is the following. How would you assess the county health department response to the COVID-19 pandemic? Speaking of which, has it been effective? And is there room for improvement? And Karen, I'll actually start with you this time around.
Okay, thank you. I personally think the health department's done a wonderful job. Under the direction of Dr. Tokars, we had a great person to be running our department going into this pandemic. They've been very forthright with information and data to keep all the residents of Kendall County abreast of what's going on in the county. Pushing the mask mandate, I think that was great. I personally, maybe in their data reporting, they could have given us a little bit more information on their data dashboard. But really, overall, I think they've done an exceptional job during this pandemic, and maybe wish they pushed the mask mandate a little bit more seriously, and maybe some of the board members could have taken the mask mandate a little bit more seriously, because I think that overall would have helped kept our numbers down and maybe had us open our small businesses early. I mean, that's the goal, that we want to keep our numbers low, keep our business open, hopefully get our kids back to school. And I really think that we'll be able to do that if we listen to the advice that our health department's giving us. So thank you.
All right, thank you, Karen. And Dan, I will turn the question to you. Not that we already went there, but how would you assess the county health department's response to the COVID-19 pandemic? Has it been effective, and is there room for improvement?
I think the county health department did a very well job. They kept the community informed, the whole county. They were on the radio, the local radio station, and they kept the county board abreast of what was going on. Not being on the board right now, I can't say everything that they've done because I wasn't there, but I can certainly tell you that Dr. Tokars, and I know she left on to another position, but when this started, she took it very serious, and she took everything very serious. I had the opportunity to work with her for several years when I was on the board, and she always did a great job. And I know the person that's in there now is following her footsteps. But the county health department is a very important thing that we have, and not every county has a health department like ours. They don't put as much interest in it. And our health department, you can call them with any type of situation, and they will at least lead you in the right direction. Whether you're hungry and don't have any food, or you need counseling, they have all that available. At one time, we were talking about putting a health department building, renting a hub over here to the east in District 2 somewhere. And they were talking Oswego. I don't believe it ever happened, but that has never been thrown off the idea panel. And I know with COVID, it probably won't happen for a while, but I do know that the health department has people over here on a daily basis checking on people. So I cannot say that they did anything wrong. They ran with the information they had. They communicated it to the public and did what they had to do. So thank you.
Great, thank you, Dan. And Mary, same question. How would you assess the county health department's response to the COVID-19 pandemic? Has it been effective? Is there room for improvement?
Okay, well, Dr. Tokars was talking about this pandemic back in January or February, I believe, at one of the county board meetings. She was bringing it up that it was out there and that we needed to keep an eye out. So she was way on top of things, maybe more than we were in other areas of the country. Yeah, I think they've been really good, and I do appreciate their statistics, that you could check the website and find out actually what the numbers were. Because I would sometimes hear from people, oh my God, the numbers have gone way up. And then you look on there and it's 3 more people. Okay. Or other times like, oh, this isn't real. It's not there. And you look in there and go, yeah, it is. There's this many people that are sick or have, have been infected. I was glad to hear the mask mandate. And again, I have to agree with Karen that I wish more of the county board members themselves would take that a little more seriously. I think that's the best way to go for most of us. But I think the health department's been really good about it. And I think Rayanne, the new director, has carried on in Dr. Tokar's big shoes, and she's been doing great. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mary. And Joe, same question. How would you assess the county health department's response to the COVID-19 pandemic? Has it been effective? Is there room for improvement?
I think they were put in a really tough position. No one in their wildest dreams would imagine something like this going on. So with all that said, I think they did an outstanding job keeping the community informed and trying to put the numbers out there, even though the statistics sometimes seem high, but if you actually look at the numbers, they're not as high. If you could say this, you have one person and you get a couple people that's up 20%, or it's only 2 people. So, but I'm just trying to say, I think they did a good job in giving the information out to everybody. A lot of people don't pay attention to it, but the mask, I think it's needed inside as much as you can if you're not spaced, but if we're outside, I think it's fine to be without the masks and social distancing. But all in all, I think they do a great job with the information they have and passing it on. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. And with that, I will turn the next question over to John.
Okay, thank you very much, Katie. And I'll direct this question first to Dan Kokol. Does the county need to adjust its budget because of the pandemic, and what expenses or projects specifically could be delayed, if any?
John, I'm not on the board right now, so I don't know every project that's going on in every absolute department. But I know there's a lot of, there's some major projects going on. One of them being the office building. They're doing the boardroom renovation, build out, whatever they're doing there. And it came into $450,000 or somewhere in that neighborhood. And I'm sure some of those monies, they had to be spent because they were coming from the federal government through the state into COVID monies. I'm sure they had to be spent in one way or another. Was that the best way to spend it? I would beg to differ, and you'd have to prove that to me as a current county board member. Would have to do that. The other projects that could be delayed, maybe some of the, if there's any small building projects around the county in the different offices, facilities and maintenance, we always had that because those came right directly out of Kendall County monies. Now, as far as the highway department, is there any roads that could be delayed? A lot of times, no. Fran Kloss is the highway engineer. He's been that for a long time. He's done a great job. And a lot of those monies come down from the federal government to the state and then to the county level. And it's one of those deals where you either use them or lose them. And the highway department has always done a great job of having reserves because they see these monies a couple of years ahead of time that are going to come. And if there's $250,000 for a road redo, and we're going to have to match it with $250,000. A lot of times the highway department has those funds because they've been saving them for 3 or 4 levy years. So you can raise the levy automatically. A lot of people don't understand that without even just automatically a little bit all the time. It has to be, a major vote when you're going to raise it over the natural amount. And these projects that are going on, some of them are mandatory. Route 71 is a state project there in Yorkville. That's a state highway. If it's a county highway, it will be a county project. Wolf Road in Oswego is actually the village of Oswego for most of it. Part of it at one time was county, township, and the village. And now all three of them are working together to try to get, they have been for several years to try to get a plan because that highway is so highly traveled. The difference on Wolf Crossing Road is that there's school and housing. I wish they would do some commercial on the south side of that road that still has quite a bit of open space, but that is not in the books right now. It is all rooftops, and rooftops bring more people, they bring more little children, and they bring more computers and more classrooms and more teachers that we all have to pay for somehow. So as far as delaying projects, yes, the ones that we can that are totally financed by the county, I would definitely be in favor of that. New small office renovations and things like that. Thank you, John.
Thank you, Dan. And now, Karen Novi, does the county need to adjust its budget due to the pandemic, and what expenses and or projects could be delayed, if any?
Well, I touched upon that a little bit in my last answer. I thought that maybe the Millbrook Bridge could have been delayed. I know the report showed that, it was not safe and it needed to come down, which I don't disagree with. I just think maybe it could have been postponed until next year or the end of next year to have that money in our, reserves. The boardroom, it's a hard one to say because there was other reasons besides just aesthetics that it was being renovated. And it's also giving, workers an opportunity to, laborers and painters and, to do some work in the county. But again, not to just delayed it maybe, just to see where we're coming in for the 2021 budget, see if we could have, even if they just pushed it back a few months just to see how we're doing for the 2021 budget. So those are maybe the two of the bigger ones that I've seen. Roads are usually pretty necessary, usually cannot be put off. So any road projects, I'm assuming that are going to continue going forward. But from what I know of the projects that they have and are looking at, I don't see really anything else that maybe could be put off or.
Okay, well thank you, Karen.
Thank you.
Well, I'll direct the question here to Mary Murray. Does the county need to adjust its budget due to the pandemic? And what expenses and or projects could be delayed, if any?
Well, I have to agree with Karen. I think the boardroom probably could have been put off at least a few months, although it will be nice when it's done. From listening to some of the budget presentations this morning, I think a lot of the department heads have kept the pandemic in mind, and they were changing up some things because of the pandemic and the way they're doing business now. There were less costs on things like transportation, but maybe an up on postage and things like that. So they were kind of finagling, but they want to keep next year in mind that maybe we won't be all locked down and perhaps we'll come back to full life business-wise and budget-wise. So they were kind of fluctuating between the two. Yeah, I think they've done a fairly decent job here with this, and they seem all the budget heads or all the department heads seem to be very aware of the pandemic and the changes they need to do because of it. So, yeah.
Thank you, Mary. Joe West, you're batting cleanup on this question. Does the county need to adjust its budget due to the pandemic? And what expenses and or projects could be delayed, if any?
Well, I think the departments that are adjusting their budgets, due to the pandemic and trying to cut back where they're at now and use money in different ways to where it's needed for the pandemic. But other departments are trying to reduce their budgets. So I think that's in place right now. But everybody keeps talking about the boardroom renovation. There's more to it than just the boardroom. I think some of that money, it's grant money and it's being given to the county. And a lot of it is they're going to do some work at the police station and some other places that money. It's just not all for the boardroom. So that information needs to get out. I don't know if the members of the current board need to give you a call, John, and let them know where some of that money's going. So the public actually doesn't, when you hear 500,000, 400,000 for a boardroom, that does seem excessive. But they're getting a lot of work done there. But I know the money's being used in different locations as well. So, and as long as it's grant money and it's not all coming from the county, they need to go ahead with that, because if you don't use the grant money by a certain amount of time, it's gone. And just money that we were supposed to get for here in Oswego for Serenity Park from the state. We had a little mix up with that money because they needed to come out and, I don't want to say politician want to come out and get some photo ops before we did the work, but we got the work done before we got all that stuff done. Now it's a little harder to get our money from the state that they had promised us. So if you don't do everything according to the grant money, you know, the state and the federal government, they'll take it away just as easy, harder than they're giving it to us. So if it's coming from the state and the federal money, I think we should try to use it or we'll lose it. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. And I'll turn the questioning back over to Katie Finland.
Thank you, John. And this will actually be our last question for today's forum. And I will start with Dan, but the question is, if elected, will you enroll in the county provided health insurance program? And why or why not? So Dan, all you. Dan, you're muted.
Yes. Thank you, Katie, for the question. And will I enroll in the county health insurance? I am not on the board, as I said before several times. I do not know what the health insurance program exactly is right now. But if I would not enroll in it if it doesn't beat the program that I'm in now. I am self-employed. I pay my health insurance myself. I have paid for that many years on my own. I realize everybody has to have it. It is available through the county, and you have to, when I knew about it before, you paid a certain percentage of it yourself, and then the county picked up the rest. When I was on the county board, I was on the HR committee. I was the vice chair at one time, and then I always sat on that committee. I wanted to be on that committee because it's a very important committee because it takes care of all the insurance in the county. And again, back to it cannot go out for bid, but you can definitely, you call it going out for quotes. And we changed the insurance at the end of my last term when I was on the board several years ago. And we were able to do, I don't remember the savings, but I believe it was $300,000. It was a tremendous savings from our other health insurance. So we looked into that. I was very stringent on these and, you know, knowing what they were. And your official question, getting back to it, is if my insurance that I'm on now, which is pretty good insurance, if it, you know, for some reason spikes up in cost or price tremendously, and I'm able to buy the county health insurance, I would probably go with the county. But I don't believe right now that I would go on the insurance because I don't believe the county health program, from what I can remember, is as good as what I have now. And I do believe the county had a health savings system for the employees. I don't know if they still have that, but there was, when I was there for the employees, and like I said, I knew about these, because being on that committee, there was 3 options for them. And one of them was a health savings program, and you could put money in yourself, and the county also put in money. And you had to be enrolled at certain times and everything else. I depend on my health insurance, and I will not change it unless it is significantly better than what I have. And I believe what I have is probably just as good or better than what the county has, and the cost and the program. So that's my answer to that. And thank you for asking the question, Katie.
All right, thank you, Dan. And Joe, same question to you. If elected, will you enroll in the county provided health insurance program? And why or why not?
No, I will not. I don't need it. I'm 65. I'm on Medicare, and I have my own supplement at this time. So that's a small. I can get that'll be a small saving for the county. They won't have to pay for my insurance, but it's not needed for me. So I guess that's my answer.
Cool.
Thank
you, Joe. And Karen, same question. If elected, will you enroll in the county provided health insurance program? And why or why not?
Sure. Easy answer, no. I'm fortunate to have my husband's insurance and my family is on his insurance, so I do not need the county's insurance. Unfortunately, the county took a big hit on their insurance rates this year, which I'm sure a lot of government and corporations have. Being a former underwriter, I can only imagine some of the rate renewals are going to be going out. So I will at least be able to not put that burden onto the county. So thank you.
Thank you, Karen. And Mary, same question. If elected, will you enroll in the county provided health insurance program? Why or why not?
No, I won't need to. I am a retired teacher. I am on Medicare, and I have a great supplemental through the retired teachers. So yeah, I won't need the county health insurance. I'm glad they provide it though. I think that's great.
Thank you, Mary. And I will turn over closing remarks to John.
Okay, well, yeah, this concludes our forum. We're coming in at right under an hour, so this is pretty good. I really appreciate all of you taking time out of your day here to participate in our forum, and I wish you all all the best on election day. So thank you, and thank you to our viewers here.
I agree.